Yo, what's up guys? It's Happy Snail. Today I'm going to be rating and measuring Cookie King, the very well-known YouTuber, TikToker, I guess. I don't really know. I guess you'd call him a black pillar. So the first ratio I'm going to get into is the ESR, and actually it's something that Cookie King is lacking in. Cookie King has an ESR of 42%, which means that his pupils are 42% the width of his face, and typically you want this to be from anywhere from 44 to 47% for men. So 42% indicates that his eyes are rather close set, which is a flaw, so he gets knocked down on that first ratio. The next one is going to be facial thirds. So Cookie King's upper third is 31% of his face, his middle third is 30% of his face, and then his lower third is 37% of his face. So 31, 30, 37. This right here is perfect. This is perfect for males, right in the masculine range. You want your middle and upper third to be roughly the same, and you want your lower third to dominate. I'm worried that he's smiling here, so his mental labial flexing makes his face appear a little taller, but still, then again. The next ratio might be a little bit controversial, but I give him full points on it. Is his canthal tilt. Take a line right at the medial canthus, and then take a line right here, and drag it up to follow the lateral canthus. As you can see, he has a roughly 10 to 11 degree canthal tilt, which on most scales is a bit feminine, but if we're going to be real, it looks pretty aesthetic here. It probably makes him more attractive, if anything. The ideal range for men is around 5 to 9 degrees, I'd say. So, yeah, I'd say it's pretty good. I give him full points on it. The next ratio is his facial width height ratio, which is actually very good. You measure it this way. You divide the cheekbone width, the bizygomatic width, by the height of the midface right here from the glabella to the upper lip, and his is about 1.99x. So, that's actually very good. It means that he has a rather compact mid-region of his face, and if it were any lower, like 1.7 let's say, it would be like this, and his face would be a lot more elongated, a lot less dominant. Now the next ratio we have is the jaw frontal angle, which Cookie King has pretty good, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, roughly 86 degrees, so perfect right there on the jaw frontal angle. And then the next ratio is his ipsilateral alar angle, which is about 87 degrees, which is very close to the measurement of 86 for his jaw frontal angle. And the ratio for ipsilateral alar angle, you want it to be roughly the same as the ratio for your jaw frontal angle. So you want there to be a small deviation between the two. And as you can see, they don't really deviate for Cookie King. So the deviation between his IAA and JFA is perfect. That's great. Right, so the next measurement we're going to do is cheekbone setness, which you take a line at the pupils, and then you take a line at the cheekbones, which is the widest point of the face, the bizygomatic width. And then you take a line from the upper lip to the line at the pupils, and then you take a line from the upper lip to the line at the cheekbones, and you see what percent of his midface is his cheekbones. How high up his midface do they go? And for Cookie King, they go up 85% of his midface, 85% the way. So that means he has high set cheekbones. This is very good. Very good. His total facial width height ratio is 1.3, which is measured by dividing the height of his face by the width, 1.3x. You typically want this to be from 1.33 to 1.38x. So his is rather short, actually. He has a rather short face. But yeah, 1.3x is rather short for a total face shape. Now his jaw width is very good. His bigonial width is about 92%. You typically want it to be from 88 to 94%. So yeah, very good. 92, right in the perfect range for Mr. Cookie King. And now for his chin to philtrum. Because he is smiling here, it came out about 2.6x. And that's because his philtrum is smaller and his mental labial being flexed makes his chin larger when he's smiling. So I will say it's in the ideal range of 2 to 2.5x, because it probably is, honestly. It looks good. So yeah, ideal chin shape for Cookie King. His neck width, obviously ideal. Yeah, ideal. At least right here. His nose to mouth ratio, it's about 1.4, which is ideal. His nose looks rather bulbous as a feature in itself, but if you look at other photos of him, you can see the sides of his mouth have these nice little like upward creases, so it makes it look his mouth wider essentially. His mid-face ratio is a flaw of his. His mid-face ratio is about 1.035x, meaning that it is rather elongated. You usually want your mid-face ratio to just be 1. That's the perfect, man, just 1. You just want it to be 1. And then his eyebrows are mid to low set, and the way you measure eyebrows is you draw a line right below the brows, you draw a line at the pupils, and then you draw a line going up to the pupils, and then a line going up to the brows, and then you find what percent of this line is, and it is about 86.5%, or his brows are mid to low set. Next ratio is going to be inner canthal distance, which is a very big flaw of Cookie King's. So typically when people have higher PFL or higher Fisher length, which is the width of your eye, it's a very aesthetic feature and it makes their eyes appear closer set because their eyes are no longer one eye apart. And usually the distance that you'd want is 0.88 to 1 eye apart, because 0.88 allows for people with longer PFL to have some wiggle room. But Cookie King's is 0.76, which is very low. So his eyes are very close together. As you can see, you can kind of just tell, which knocks him down a lot. His eye aspect ratio is very good of, oh my god, of 3.0x, which means his eye is 3 times wider than it is tall, which is perfectly in the ideal range for men. I actually thought it would be worse than this. When you look at it, his eyes seem kind of like rounded, but they're actually not bad. They're actually pretty good. His lower lip to upper lip ratio, it's about 1.5x, which is perfectly in the ideal range for men. His lower third proportion, I couldn't really, this pic is not too good for it, but you know, I can still get an idea. His lower third proportion is 37%, which is just a little bit off, so he gets knocked down a bit on that. It's not a big deal though. His bitemporal width, I can't tell what it is, but I can tell you it's in the ideal range for sure. And then his eyebrow tilt of 9.5 to 10 degrees roughly is perfectly in the ideal range for men. So with all of those ratios being factored, Cookie King has a frontal harmony of 77%, which is actually really good. I mean, it's very surprising. I didn't expect it to be this high for Cookie King, but you know, in this undistorted photo right here, you can see he looks pretty good. And yeah, let's get to the side profile now. Alright, so now for Cookie King's side profile, the first ratio I'm going to be taking is his gonial angle, which is about 115 degrees, which is perfectly in the ideal range for men. Very good. And then his nasofrontal angle. This is a pretty bad picture, by the way, of his side. It's not full Frankfurt plane, but you can still get an idea of stuff. And if I'm going to measure nasofrontal, I might as well move it back here a little bit and do like that, yeah, to get a better idea of the angle. And yeah, it's about 110 degrees, which is on the lower end. As you can see, you can kind of tell it's not super acute, but it's still good. And his mandibular plane angle is roughly 16 degrees, which is on the lower end, but it's still ideal, so it's in the ideal range, so yeah, good. And the next one is ramus to mandible ratio, and I didn't actually know this would be a flaw of his. I didn't think it would, but his ramus to mandible ratio is roughly 0.42, which is very low actually. You typically want it to be from 0.59 to 0.78. So I guess his ramus just isn't long enough. So the next one is going to be his convexity, facial convexity of his glabella. So that ratio is taken by drawing a little line right here. I'm going to go a little back because it's at the angle once again. And you take another one and you put it right here, and then one at the chin. As you can see, it's very obtuse. It's about 176.5 degrees, which is still at the very high end of the ideal range. I guess I'm going to give him full points for it, but it's very close to unideal. His submental cervical angle, this is a pretty bad pick. But yeah, I mean, I guess you can kind of see it like this. Like, it's just a bad pick, but his submental cervical angle is ideal, so I'm just going to give that to him. Next, for Cookie King's nasofacial angle, draw a line going through here, and then a line like right, and then a line like right here. It comes out to 33 degrees, which is full points right there, ideal. Next, for his nasolabial angle, if you take it like this, his nasolabial angle comes out to 99 degrees, which is perfectly in the ideal range. Next, his orbital vector. If you look closely, you can see that his orbital vector is slightly negative, and I've seen in videos of this guy before that it just pokes out a little bit. So it's only slightly negative, so that's a tier 4 flaw. So yeah, that knocks him down. It's unideal. So yeah, orbital vector is basically this thing right here, and if it sticks out, if it's neutral, or if it's positive, ideally you want positive so that your eyes are deeper set. Now for his total facial convexity angle, you take one line at the glabella. I'm going to take it back, as I say, because it's not full Frankfurt plane. Then one at the nose tip, and then one at the chin. His total convexity is 147 degrees, which is high, but ideal. It's still good. I guess it looks fine to me. So next, for Cookie King's mentolabial angle. His mentolabial angle is approximately 120 degrees, which is perfectly in the ideal range for men. Now for his total facial convexity of his nasion, you get one at the glabella, and then you get one right under the nasion right there, and then you get one right at the chin. His comes out to be 174.5 degrees, which is on the flatter end, which is a flaw, unfortunately, so it marks him down quite a bit. Cookie King's nasal projection is 0.78, which is actually a bit too high, unfortunately, meaning that his nose is too projected, which is a flaw of his. His nasal width to height ratio is approximately 0.76, very close to the projection, which is a full score, which is good. You want 0.76 for that. And now for lip assessments. So the first lip assessment I'm going to be running on Cookie King is the Ricketts E line, which is the line from the tip of the nose to the chin. And typically you want the upper lip to lie 4 millimeters behind and the lower lip to lie 2 millimeters behind. If the lower lip was closer, it'd be better. But then again, it's a bad picture. So I'm going to give him slightly ideal for this one. So yeah. So now for the hold away H line, you measure it this way from the upper lip to here. And the lower lip should be touching it. And you know what, bro? I'm just going to give this to him because it's just barely there. So yeah, I'll give that to him. Next, for the Steiner line, you put it right in front of the nostril right there and then one at the chin. And ideally, both lips should be touching this. Yeah, I'll just give him full points on that. It's probably ideal in his full side because now that I look at it, like if you were to turn just a little bit this way, it definitely would hit the line. So yeah, his hold away line is ideal. Or his Steiner line is ideal. Next, for the Birdstone line, you take it from right here to right here, which Cookie King's is near ideal almost. Next, for Cookie King's nasomental angle, it's measured from the glabella, or like the little dip right there, to the tip of the nose, from the tip of the nose to the chin. And for Cookie King, it's 132 degrees, which is on the higher end, but it is still ideal, which is good. And then the relationship between his gonian and his mouth, if you were to draw a line as lower lip, a flat line, it lines up with his gonian, so that's ideal. His brow ridge inclination, I can't really tell. It might be around like 16 degrees, but it's good whatever it is, I think. I think it's pretty good. Next, for Cookie King's nasal tip angle, it's about 125 degrees, which is on the higher end of the ideal, but it's still good, I guess. You can kind of tell a bit, but it's still good. And the last but not least ratio is the recession in Frankfurt plane, which is basically measured by drawing a line right here through the nasion. And essentially, you just want to see if the chin meets this line to see if someone is recessed, and Cookie King clearly isn't recessed, so very good. So factoring in Cookie King's front profile harmony of 76% and his side profile harmony of 80%, I can give him an overall harmony score of 77.4%. And when averaged with his body fat factors, his angularity, his dimorphism, and his miscellaneous traits, which I'd say are pretty good. He has long eyelashes, he has clear skin, he has white teeth, pretty even skin tone. So his misc is about a 6, his dymo is about a 5.5, and his body fat factors are about a 5.25. Once you factor all of these in, Cookie King comes out to a 6.4 out of 10, or a high tier normie, which is very surprising. I did not expect him to score this high, but yeah, I mean, he got it, and he's a high tier normie. At least in this picture. I don't know. Thank you for watching.